Hello everybody, Forest is here again. Now about another promised video which will be about battoning. Why I will speak about battoning? Definitely not because I'm some expert or something like that. I'm just user. I'm lover of knives, I'm user of knives. I play with knives since from my childhood, and I'm simply glad that today I can buy such a strong knife which I can use basically for everything, even for battoning or say splitting, because I think it's kind of similar things, splitting and battoning. Battoning is just, we use some baton to baton knife through, we're talking about knife through some wood. I say wood because we can use it for something else, but okay. But why we do it? Because we want to split it for two, even more things. What is kicking me forward to do this video is I've seen so many videos, so many guys which are expert, which I'm not expert, but I think I've got a couple of logical things. So it is just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, and there is no another right super reason or simply practical thing which I don't know. Even I don't have it here, and I don't have it in my hands. I mean, I don't have a skill. But for most of guys, most of us, why? So let's start it. So baton, I split it, the topic baton for two things. First is why. So reason why I should baton with the knife. For me, for two ways, for two reasons. Why? To harvest a dry wood from the middle of another wood. So many guys which should be, they claim themselves as experts for survival. They said, you don't need it. Well, okay, I'm all right. Maybe not. But why, if this is the fastest, the simplest way there? You can go around, try, have a look, and harvest some, dry grass and I don't know, so many other things. Then just take a piece of wood which is there already and just split it. It's much more faster than for me. So I'm not saying it is unnecessary, definitely not. Yeah, I believe there is plenty ways, maybe different conditions, but there is plenty ways how to get basically something dry. We are harvesting wood now with the splitting, so I will talk about harvesting dry wood. For start, basically for kindling from the start, and then of course for fire start. I did so many fires outside, and basically I hadn't any problem to use this way. I mean, the fine wood which I'm expecting it will be dry inside, then simply take it from somewhere, from the tree, from the floor, or somewhere there simply, and just split and get the wood. Even with I remember one last time, it was really hard winter. There was freezing -12, 13 of Celsius. There was very, very strong wind. I had a couple of kids around, so we did a fire near some frozen creek. It was a little bit say down to creek, not on the top of hill. But sorry, my English, sometimes I forget the important words. But what I would say, I used just a small knife, 4 inches knife. My DPX has four. This is 4 inches blade, and I had nothing else than just a small knife. So I made a campfire with it with no problems. I'm using most of time for fire start, not that fell roads. Oh, I forget that. In matches, God. I'm close today. I'm sorry about that. So I use the matches most of the time. I will do video for fire starting for some, in my opinion, in the video, but there will be another video. But I use the matches. So I want to say I use the 4-inch blade and just simply 1 or 2 matches to start the fire in such wrong conditions. So freeze, strong wind, wet around, and everything was snowy and like that. Nothing else. So that knife, the DPXS4, is a really strong knife, and it is coming back to the topic of battoning. So I harvested dry wood very fast. I found, oh, this one could be all right. So I used the knife, split it, took the real dry wood from inside, and prepared everything. So everything was done with a small knife, and I think it was 2 matches I spent there. But that's good, because that could be really like that dangerous, we say, area for someone there. Minus 13 and strong wind can kill you overnight very easy. But simply it is that. So that was the way. Of course, I could walk there, you know, try, I don't know, look for something and spend lots of time to find something else than simply to split the wood. So this is the reason. It is not definitely, it mustn't be definitely the best way, and I don't know, the super way. It could be simply another way which could serve you fast. That's why I will split the wood. This is one reason. And second, I simply need a split something for whatever reason. Just in this kind, I will speak, say, I'm building a shelter, I'm building a bed, I'm building some base camp where I will turn some rounded wood to 2 splitted halves, so I will have flat surface. Of course, in this position, I will use probably a wedge, and of course, that will be much better to have a splitter. I mean, axe, and that's definitely yes. But you can do it. You can do it with this. So these are, in my eyes, the reason why should I use the battoning, even splitting, or splitting by battoning. That's probably the best way how to say it. And the second thing is why I will not do it only if I'm worried about to break the knife. And this is the video about, basically. So if we are saying, okay, I want to split it, I am able, and simply I want it, okay, we got reason why to do it. Now we got something what keep us out from it, why not to do it. And this is basically because I'm really worried about to break my even expensive knife. Well, so there is another question, especially today, if we are talking about survival knife. Most of survival knives has today 4.5 millimeter thick, 4.8, even more. So which is I think 0.16, 0.19, even 0.2 of an inch. You know, that thickness. So I say from 3/16 and higher, mean thicker blade, we can count them as a survival knife, because in the other hand, there is no reason. So I talk with me now. I got plenty of my equipments here, and first of them is this simple kitchen knife. It is for $4. It looks like some special, but it is not. It's just finished. This is some stainless steel. It is simply counted to my other knives. This is crap as a steel, but it serves well, basically because the grind. But why I'm talking about it, I don't know if you can see the thickness here somewhere should be, I didn't measure it, so it is just for the talk. It is basically between 1.5 2 millimeters, coming down to about 1 millimeter somewhere here. But it is flexing around enough. It is good. And what do you think, guys? can this knife for $4 can it split a piece of wood which will be, say, 2 inches wide or thick? Even we can go for, say, 4 centimeters, which is 1.5, somewhere there, of an inch. So it will be like that. Can the knife split it? I think most of time, yes. Only if that will be such terrible piece of wood where will be so many knots, it will be twisted around, it will be definitely problem for some another much more stronger and expensive knife. I can say the knife will not pass it, but it could make trouble. So this is the reason. This is 2 millimeters about thick blades. So that's 2, and basically nothing, crap steel. So can it do it? I believe 99.9% this knife can do it. So why shall I be worried about to break the knife? So there are a couple of reasons. It is crap knife. Basically, it is a crap knife. There's wrong, or it's overheated and simply, I don't know. Or I choose the really wrong piece of wood, then I can nearly break every knife. Okay, and I choose the wrong kind of knife. I mean, different grind. I mean, I say hollow grind and strong wood. The knots there. So I think I choose the not only one of the wrong sides, so wrong knife for good wood, but I choose the wrong wood and wrong knife together. So that's the worst scenario. I think this can do it. Definitely, it can do it. If I will go much more forward, Topps Silent Hero. Silent Hero is, I think, 3/16, and it is high saber grind. I know. See, so what the Topps Silent Hero wants to do it? In my eyes, it wanna go somewhere in the kitchen knife topic. Why? Because we got some piece of the full thickness, which is 1.5 centimeter about here, and then it's really going down, and because the blade is really wide, so they made the angle so smooth, and now they're making basically a kitchen knife. So Silent Hero, in my eyes, is combination of kitchen knife, you know what I mean, for slicing ability, and they want to deploy some strong piece of wood, strong piece of steel, which can serve you as a survival knife, fighting knife. It's simply, they want simply knife stand some abusing, and we abuse the knife. Definitely what the knife is meant to be, simply because the knife basically is meant and built for slicing, even for stabbing, but for slicing basically. That's why we got a knife for. I think 80% of use of knife is just slicing, chopping, some, and stabbing, even really with tip, is just few 1, 2, 3% of the. Of course, depend where you are. If you are a knife fighter, then you need to have a dagger where you specialize more for stabbing, because the dagger usually not slice pretty well. It can, but it's hard to compare it, say, with this knife, which can slice really deep. But as a stabber, why that? Okay, we are going somewhere else. But what I want to say is this one. So some companies try to find something between the slicing ability and some sturdiness or something like that, which can make the knife really strong to survive something. Well, so why so thick knives? So we can use the thick knives for a reason. The knives are crap. They are simply overbuilt to stand something. It is not now. These 3 points which I'm saying are not from my mind, but it reminds me, and I absolutely agree. There's some another guy on YouTube said that, so I agree with this. That's why I'm telling you. But this is not my idea. There's the guys prepare outdoor, something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. So they are logical. That's important. That's why I'm telling it. The knives are overbuilt because they are worried that knife will break. Absolutely logical thing. Second, you really want to have the knife which can stand something. You really build a knife which is very good, is strong, is high quality. You usually have a high-end steel, but you still want to have some something. You will make something basically indestructible, something what will be here forever. Okay, that's another thing. And what was the third reason? I'm not sure if this is the one from him, but in my eyes there will be another thing. And tracker, for example, tracker knife is really the proof of that you will have some weight on it. These are not comparable for the using, but for normal using Lion Steel M5, for slicing, stabbing, even splitting. This is 4.5 millimeters, so you can split with this one with good steel. You can use such a small knife which weighs 211 grams, or you have compare just the length of the blade, please. Just have a look. Don't forget about the handle, but have a look. This knife, the tracker, is about 4 centimeters longer, which is 12. Yeah, it should be exactly 4 centimeters longer, which is 1.4 inches about. But this is 3 times heavy than this knife is. Of course, in thickness. And simply, if we have a look how the overbuild is the Thom Browne tracker, and compare with some similar size of the blade, as was Silent Hero, for example. These are basically same in the blade length. Well, there is no reason, because especially the material here is same, 1095. Why is this knife so overbuilt? I think this knife especially, of course, for just sturdiness, to stay long time, maybe forever, but to have a weight in front of it. So this is 16 centimeters blade overall. So that's nothing. That's really short blade in my eyes. It's shorter than K-bar, which is like that. So so this is really short knife, but it chops like hell. Compare with the size. That's important. We always must comparing with size. Well, let's have a look for the another thing. I would notes here. I would like to describe 3 kinds of blades. One is a splitter. This is a splitter. Wide convex blade. This is a splitter. Counted with X, because I think that it has something to do with that. This is a splitter. Most of the time we are talking about the choppers. What knife is the chopper? Chopper don't need to be exactly a splitter. That's very important. For example, like this cookery is. Yes, it has 80 millimeter thick blade, so it could be splitter, but because of the full flat grind, it is more chopper than splitter. That's important to know. So chopper doesn't mean a splitter in my eyes. And of course, we've got a slicer. This could be the slicer because these long angle to the real edge. Or of course we got very natural example, which is the kitchen knife, which is a slicer. Well, we got something which is going more, even with the similar kind of thickness. Oh, I'll show you. Okay, the chopper could be this one also, or the max, or this one could be chopper, even slicer, and that's why I got it here, this axis, and this is definitely chopper and slicer, because it has basically the hawk has a kind of edge, kind of knife edge, simply because this angle is basically long, like, yeah, very similar. I mean, the length here and here is very close to the Silent Hero. This is more thicker, so of course this angle is not that good as here, but you know what I mean. So this is kind of knife edge, kind of, you know this grinding here is, and on the others, especially for that splitter, for those Battonings. So that's important. So I'm dividing knives into 3 categories. So splitter, chopper, and slicer. And it is hard to have knife which can do all of these. And of course, I said we can a little bit cheat, and we do it with the grind. So we got the flat grind, just simply flat. This is a little bit hollow grinded, and you've seen my video for Sanmai Tanto, Sanmai called steel Tanto, that's definitely hollow grind. So this is a little bit hollow grind also. And of course, we got a pure convex. Pure convex. This knife is example when someone thought about it and say, okay, I'd like to have 2 different kinds of edges, because on one tool, because each of them excel in something else. So this knife is splitter and slicer. Splitter and slicer. Even this is 6.5 millimeters thick. It slices like hell when you see that. Now it's really sharp. And we got a splitter, because as you can see, this angle is too short, so the angle could be like steep, but it can chop also. I said it can slice, it can chop, but it can split, sorry, it can split. But as a chopper, well, it doesn't serve well like a chopper, because you got a feeling like X. And depend now where you want to be with the chopping, because there's the hollow grind. There's the hollow grind, as we spoke about. This is pure hollow grind, nice. But what I want to say, as a chopper, this one is definitely, this is kind of chopper, but not definitely. But it is a matter of more things, handle and everything. I want to say this is great chopper. Even the thickness is far away from thickness of the trackers, so it's half thick than the trackers. It is lighter than the trackers, but it chops same in the same way, maybe even better. And why? Because simply it bites the wood much more deeper, and thanks to the grind, which is not that fine, like say for example like this one, it don't bite that much that you need to pull it out after each chop, which sometimes happen on the cookery, because the angle there is really fine, and simply is very easy, especially with a fresh wood. It really bites in, and if you don't chop it through, which most of the time if you got something like that you go through, if you know the angles, and like this one, Maybe you will not do it with this one, but this will not stuck in the wood that much. So if I go back, I would splitter, because the grind. I go to chopper, and I go to, for example, this one or this one, and of course this one as a slicers, even with the tanto, because the hollow grind. So we are cheating with grinds. So why we got hollow grind? Basically, the hollow grind is something what can give you ability of nice fine slicing from some really thick steel. That's why it is on the tracker. We got 6.5mm thick blade, but you will destroy it. Destroy is wrong word. You know what I mean. But you will change it. You cheat. You will cheat it. That's a nice word. But you will cheat it. So you simply go down very like in short distance, and then you could just say half of that, and then you make the fine edge. And that's the cheating. It's not the cheating. It's sometimes somebody think about it. And if someone says the hollow grind is not good for survival knives, well, it is not exactly right. If you've seen my video with my SOG Trident one, the original, I said it has 7mm thick blade, and it's pure hollow grind. It's pure hollow grind. Somewhere here. It is pure hollow grind. Absolutely nice, pure hollow grind. You can see it. And you think that it can't baton? It can stand. I got it 20 years, guys. This knife stand such abusing like no one of these. So, and it is here. It's still here, even from throwing. I spoke about it. So, and have a look how the short distance from the bevel is to the second. There was actually a secondary bevel. I changed that angle now because I like to have this knife very nice for slicing. Yeah, I sacrificed a little bit a strongness of the blade, but it never happens something. Yeah, maybe it is a little bit faster dull because this is AUS 8 steel, which is not some super steel, but I just want to take this knife as an example, as a survival. This is basically something, some survival fighting knife somewhere in between. Well, that's the point. That's the point of the knife. This is not pure chopper. This is not pure splitter, but it can do everything. It survives that years and that abusing. So if someone says the hollow grind is not good for survival knife, that's not true. It is just a matter of how the knife is made. That's why is on the tops. Bark River Tracker is the hollow grind here, because somebody thought about it and they said, okay, we know weakness and we know the strong points of the grinds. That's why they put two grinds there. They didn't. There wasn't like authors. They don't think about the knife. They made it as a first. Don't made it as a first time, as I know. But it doesn't matter. It is good to have the hollow grind on the survival knife, even on splitter. If we talk, especially on this, I will be not worried about split something because I simply split the woods with this knife. Everything I found. So what I had, and I needed to split it, so I did it with the Battoning before. So, and it survived. It is just a matter of how is the knife built, how quality and everything. So I'm a little bit out, but when I say chopper and splitter, everything, it doesn't mean only to be a thick knife or only to have, say, because so many people say, oh, I'd like to have a convex there because the convex is splitting knives. Yes, but it is not only the choice. And I got here another thing, which is hardness. This is of course something when we are worried about to break the knife. This is not only about how thick it is, but it is always about how hard the knife is. If we are talking about hard knives, most of knives here got hardness between 56 to 58. I'm not sure if there is someone higher. No, maybe this is 59, but I'm not sure. Basically, no. I don't know any. So what I want to say, if you are somewhere, that's my experience with the knife. So it mustn't be true exactly. And this is about the factory, how they know to do the hardening and tempering there. So if you got SE is known for it, for example, they got 1095, and the SE knife stand horrible abusing. So it doesn't mean that they are not breaking somewhere. Yes, but how many of them from such abusing? We are talking about percent. So if you got nice hardness, I seen extrema ratio of, they got a parang, I don't know how they call it. It is made from N690. They usually they are usually making knives from N690, and it is rust resistant steel. And so many guys said, oh, if you want to have chopper, you can't have it from these stainless steels, because they are breaking when you use them as a chopper or even for battoning. Well, no, it is not true. This is AUS 8, for example. So as I said, this knife it didn't break. It is matter how the knife is built, how is the tempering there, how is the hardening there, how the knife is simply built, everything together. And why I spoke about that extrema ratio, they had hardness, I think 54 HRC, and it is the blade is longer than this one is. I think it's like this about, and you can see on YouTube how they are flexing. They simply chop it in the wood and they are just flexing in it. I think it was a 90 degrees angle. How? Simply because somebody thought about it. What do you need from it? So if that will be 58, 59 Rockwell's hardness, do you think that it will not break? I think yes, it will. And what about if it will be 1095? It will be break? Yes, definitely. Even maybe with less on 1095. So that's the another thing. So it is not about so how hard it is, and of course what the grind is there. Of course, I'm not saying that there is not important which grind you have on the. I'm saying just it is not only that matter. That's important. So it's definitely more material on the convex than on the hollow. So definitely when you try to do some abusing with more steel, more material in it, then probably will be stronger. That's definitely, there's no doubt about. But it is not only that. And something else, another thing is choosing of steel. Just have a look, what kind of big choppers do we have here? From what kind of materials? We got the 1095 with maximum hardness here is the 58, sorry. And most of them, for example, like this bark river tracker is from A2 tool steel. Chopper from this is O1 tool steel. We got the machetes made from 5160 spring steel, and of course we got some carbon steels, but they are in less hardness. So for example, most of machetes from cold steel, they are from 1055, I think, somewhere there, and with hardness maximum 54. maximum, most of time less, 52. Their CRKT, I think, released another choppers, small choppers, I don't remember names, but they are, say, 52 or 53 HRC. Why? Because simply you nearly can do round with them, nearly. So this is the thing. So this is not about hardness. I want to say to choose a steel. Of course, we go to super steels, a CPM 3V now. And most of the choppers with CPM 3V are 4.5 plus millimeters of thick. So they are definitely not tiny. They are somewhere in this thickness. So this is definitely something of that. Or we got that's the high end. But you can see really big choppers with some another steels. Say we got most of time just bark rivers doing the choppers or bigger knives from CPM 3V or some another. I mean, maybe there's so many knife makers there, so I don't want to say I don't know them even. I'm talking about some normal knives which you can buy for reasonable price, because for example, if I bought this knife for 350 original price, but include VAT and so many things, it was bit higher, 100 US dollars. But the, for example, tracker original from WSK is, I think, when I checked it last time, over 1,000 of US dollars with I don't know, it wasn't some super steel, it was something normal, if I can say. So why? Just only if I want to have the knife. I want to have for my collection the knife, okay, but there's no reason to buy it for real using. I mean, in my eyes, I'm user and not collector. I'm not collecting knife for displaying them. I like to use them, otherwise this waste of money. So we got to steel. So basically what I would say, you need to use, or it is good to think about if that will be a chopper, if that will be splitter, so use it for battoning. They're using these tool steels. Why? Because they are made for it. They are made for some physical impact. Most of the time they're using, they made some tool which is stamping or chopping or something into another steel, another iron materials. So they must stand something. And of course, with the hardness of 56, 58, which they usually are, they're very hard to find somewhat stronger, I mean harder. That should be all right. So we go to grind, we go to thickness, we go to hardness, and we go to choosing of the right steel. Well, so now we are going finally somewhere where we lead to this. I'm leading this one. If you chop with some really strong knife, or chop. I will sorry. It is about battoning. I will not talk about chopping. But if you go through by battoning through some big piece of wood, sometimes people don't use. Simply they want to do it. Simply they want, because someone says, I want to show you. I want to see how the knife can stand this one and go through it exactly in the middle. Well, okay, but there we are not now. I can always take it piece after piece, and I can split off basically whatever, piece by piece. And so, but if I want to go straight in the middle, okay, then I need to think about it. I need to check the wood, what is there. I mean, the knots and everything. Of course, experience with the wood is good, because most of the time fresh wood is more dangerous, but it is not always. Sometimes you got dry wood and you can be stuck there, and you can destroy a good knife on the dry wood because the knots. Most of the time because of the knots, of course. So the problem is, someone on YouTube says that there was a discussion with the knife maker. I think it was the Mike Stewart is the Bark River founder. I think they spoke about it, not only with him, but with some other knife makers, famous knife makers, and they spoke about micro fractures. It means when we do battoning, somewhere in the steel are small fractures, and if there is many of them, and even one of them which is bigger and bigger after using, it will simply break on the place. It is logical, but I don't think that's the problem. Definitely not. The fractures should be there probably after heating, or is from overheating or something wrong with maybe from the steel, basically, especially if someone is making his own steel. That's the biggest dangerous of if someone is is making steel from the rocks, if I were saying this way. So that's the problem. That's the problem. But if there is really high standard steel, I mean, you buy from some steel makers, probably there will be not this problem. So only with the overheat or did some wrong handling with the making of the knife. But normally, I can't imagine if I say I'll take this 6.5 millimeters piece of steel, hardened steel, and tool steel, which is made to stay some physical impact, and I will baton through something that I'm making a microstructures there. If I got, that's important, wood batoning stick. If that will be steel or iron, there's no doubt, there's no question about that, because the vibration and everything. But with the wood, it's not possible, guys. I don't believe. If yes, then throw the knives out and we can make the woods from the wood, because it will be probably very similar, stronger, and we can make it in a garden, put in the fire to make them a little bit harder, and we can slice with them, because we know the hardwood can slice. If you do it properly, it can slice. So you know what I mean. I'm not saying that, but that it can be possible, but basically not with the properly using and with properly made knife. There is information. If you do archery, for example, can you imagine the power of draw the bow is really strong. The hunting knives usually starting on 40 pounds and go higher to what you can imagine, what someone can simply pull. The energy which released arrow is taken from the bow, from the full power, is somewhere, I think, about 7% of energy. Don't take me, please, exactly. I don't know if it's 8 or 6, it doesn't matter. It is up to 10. There's less than 10. I think it's 7, but I'm sure. And all of them say 90% of energy is consuming when the string is finished. So the pull of the bow, strings take it, and of course it is distributing. I don't know how to say. All the bow takes the energy in and needs to stand it many times, 10,000 times, and most of bows in time will break from this reason, from these micro fractures inside. That's the problem. But there is a different percentage of energy which the arrow takes and which stands in the bow. Then if we are speaking about take a wood stick and simply baton with the knife, with a steel, which is different material, and of course the wood takes some energy back because it is softer than most of time. I mean, basically any time, but there are definitely harder wood and softer wood. So, but definitely some energy is going back to the wood, and of course, most of the time, especially if you got sharp edge, you're simply going through. Of course, something else will be if we split the wood in this way or in this way, because these grains of the wood don't take that much when if you do this one, because if you follow these lines, then you split the wood very easily. You know it. Just remind it. We all of us know it. So this is it. What I want to say. If we really make the micro fractures in a knife with a battoning stick, using with baton, well guys, so throw the knives away, because they are crap. They are simply crap. But it is not mean that it couldn't be a real true. And it is only with situation when we are battoning really hard piece of wood. I mean, where is so many knots, the wood is twisting. There we are. There is the problem. So if we know that all the wood is growing from the middle in rounds, and we go usually, of course, through. Softer wood is not that strong together. The grinds are not strong together, so it is much more easy to split them. Of course, if there is not, because if there is not, because the knot usually we know is something the same structure around it going through the original thing. So now we got different power which we need to go through and basically destroy it. Of course, more knots, more problems, more grains. That's why that's why it's hardwood and softwood. So more these grains stuck together, especially fresh one. But it's not only that. When they're holding like this one, it is hard to split them. So the problem is, if we want to go or need to go with the wood, sorry about that, I will do it here. If you want to go, so we go to, and we want to go through, and this is that hard that the blade is a little bit bent here, a little bit bending here. That's only the problem where we can break the knife. And of course it will increase in situation where where is the knot again. So that's the problem. Only there should be the problem. How we avoid it? We need to choose a right place where to split it. If we split, oh, I want to do it here because I got a such expensive knife and I'm a big hero and I will do it through this shit piece of knot. I break the knife, so I'm an idiot. That's it. There's no point about it. Sometimes it is possible to happen because the wood is growing, of course, I say with the lines from the bottom, and the bottom line simply is like wedge. And of course, the stronger wood has this tension to still be together. So I think which knife? Ash tree. I think ash tree is a very good example of it. So these grinds are really together. So you need to split each of them, and so if it is fresh, then it's hard. But as I know, because I'm using them for fires, when I'm splitting them, for example, with this axe, I got usually that pieces. There's 60 centimeters about. Could be from this to that, so it's 25 centimeters. There's really some big ones, some small. So even if the axe is there, it is really made for splitting, and it is sharp, and I got a hard surface, so there is no energy absorption which is go into the ground. It is still hard sometimes to split them because they are like sticking together by the glue, like. You know, so that's the problem. That's the thing. So if we find with some thin blade, and especially thin hard blade, something which ask the knife to go a little bit around, then probably we are there. Because when we baton, the knife is really a little bit twisted, and when I'm hitting the knife, I of course try to be precise from the top down. But this is not reality. We know sometimes, you know, we are tired, handle is a little bit shaking because surface mustn't be straight, you know what I mean. So we a little bit change the angle, boom, and we are done. So that could be the problem. But as I said, it is with thinner blade and I will not say overheat, but too much hard blade for that thing, what I want to do, why I want to do. So this is the thing. There is the guy, I think it was the same, who broke the SE Hunglas 2. He did it somewhere here, and he wanted to do it. He really destroyed the knife. He showed how the knife can be strong, what the knife can stand. That was really nice. But there were to see how the wood was like twisted, and the different kind of pressures, energies went into the blade. And when he simply did the battoning, simply he meets so many energies from different directions, which breaks not the knife like this one, but they attacked the knife from sides, and he had a problem here. He just made a hole here. It was nice that the knife, after that, the knife was ready to go. Still, you can use it, not in the place, but still, that was very good. That's very nice made knife, especially with 1095 with a like fine edge. It was 4.5 millimeters thick, but in the position it wasn't. So that was good knife. That was good. SE2 Hunglas too. I mean, all SE knives are great. Even I don't have any. But maybe I will have someone. Especially I like the SE Hunglas 2 because I don't have knife for that size, and so I don't have it. So maybe I will put it into my collection. So the point is, if we are thinking what are we doing, it is not important, or not every time we need to break the knife. So, and last thing, and I spoke it with my Tops T3 tracker when I did it, when we split sometimes with some thinner blade, when we split sometimes and we see there could be a problem, because we see most of the time we see the lines, and I could be strong, you know, I'll grab the knife and I'll baton, I will hit the knife, and I'm using a really strong power and pressing, of course, the wood down. So when I hit down like this way, and because the grains and knots and whatever there, wanna lead the knife a little bit on the side. Say, I will do it on this, little bit keep it there, but not. I'm a strong man. I will keep it in this way and I will smash it. Then of course I can break it again. So guys, just sometimes it is listen to hand. When you feel that, especially as I did the splitting with the T4, with the tiny tracker, with the small knife, when I did the splitting there, well, that's exactly what you need, just to feel what the knife want to do. Sometimes it turns okay, so I follow. And if I listen, I can avoid some knife damage, because it will be from my stupidity. I want to knife have leads to where I want it, bim. But nature is not about that. Sometimes nature is much more stronger than we are. So that's some final conclusion is: find the steel you want to have, change, take the knife design, especially good for splitting. Find a grind for splitting. This one, or even this tracker now. And that's it. Steel, of course, and hardness. That's important. We know it. So this is not only about what I have heard many times on YouTube. So the stainless steel and that one and that one and that grind. Good proper knife which is made for it. So it is really say 5, 6, even more millimeters thick, and which is not possible to baton with, especially with the company say our warranty is not for batoning. That's crap. Don't go there, because if the knife in that thickness can't stand leading through that basically much more soft material, and if we are using common sense, it's not possible to break it. If yes, yeah, it could be a problem of that particular knife. It sometimes happen, okay, but factory or company should say, okay, yeah, it's our problem, thank you. I had many years. I had a cold steel. I don't know what's the name. It was a black. It was like bolo shaped. They call it kukri, but it was like bolo. It was made from SK5 high carbon steel. It was 4.5 millimeters thick. It was great knife. I chopped basically everything with it. It was nice slicer. Until one day when I met guys one dry spruce, no oaks, no, spruce. And I did 2-3 chops. My friend was there. He saw it. He can't believe it's same as me. I chopped a couple of times, and I did break on the belly, same as the guy on the SE Hunklas too. I made the big tooth here, like that. Then I stand surprised, really surprised at how it could be. It never happened. I had the knife a long time. And how it could be spruce, the softest wood we have here. Well, simply it happened. So I destroyed the blade, but what was important, I took it into the store where I bought the knife, and they took a month to do some examination. What was the problem? I don't know. They don't give me a result, but the point was they gave me another knife. And as I know, it is here among us until today, and it is 15 years. So that's what I say. If you buy a crap, then you expect crap. But if you buy a proper knife, and if company can't stay behind their product, they said, okay, don't baton with a 6 millimeter thick knife, then just basically think, why? So are you worried about I will break the knife when I do baton with the steel to the wood? Thank you, I don't want it. I'll find another 1,000 knife makers or hundreds of companies which can serve me that. And this is not a problem. Unfortunately, it's not a problem only the cheap company. Sometimes the one from the most expensive companies also. So I hope this will be a little bit help you. And this is basically, as my opinion is, as I said on the start, I'm not an expert, but I'm user. I can't remember if I break the knife, I mean completely break the knife to batoning, even from our craps, which was here before 30 years. And I did so many things. Most of knives I destroyed was by throwing. Then I had many knives I destroyed, but none with the normal using, slicing, chopping, splitting, batoning, none, zero. So I'm here. Have a nice time and see you next time. Bye.